Hey guys, nice to see you again. So I thought that today, before starting with a new topic, we'd just go over a little bit more about themes, which we left off in the last topic. Remember that a theme is a message about life or human nature that a writer shares with the reader. And sometimes, like I mentioned before, the theme is direct. We know what it is, like it's obvious. But sometimes we have to infer that, which is making logical guesses on where it comes from. So I found this fun game. I'm going to share the link with you guys in the Google Classroom. Just consider it a little quick practice on how to find themes in short passages or short stories. So the game consists in you guys guessing what is the theme of the story, and by doing so, for example, in this story, let's say the theme was courage. So we would click courage, and I got it correct, and then I would pick a warrior, an archer, or a healer. In this case, I'm going to go with an archer because I want him to keep that cyclops from getting to my king. And then, you keep reading again. And as you read, you go analyzing what the theme is based on the information you see here. So in this case, let's go with honesty. Oh, it was wrong. Look, so I lose my player. Perseverance was the right answer. So now I'm going to go with the warrior. And then, you keep playing, you read, you analyze what the theme is for each one of these short paragraphs. See, I got another one, so I'm going to go with an archer now. And as I said, you keep reading and you analyze what the theme is, and it's a fun game because you want to protect your king. Now, remember, if you get it wrong, you lose one of your players. So I'm reading as quickly as I can. And I got it right again, so now I'm going to go with a healer. This way she'll heal them if they get hurt. And it's just a fun game for you guys to play and learn from. And it seems really fun to me, so I'm going to share that link with you guys in the Google Classroom. I just wanted to bring that up really quickly. So now we're going to go to our Google Slides. As usual, we're going to start out with our notebooks, and we're going to write our name, date, grade, and section. You have to write down your objective, which today is to analyze elements of myth. And our I can statement is I can understand language conventions. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the language conventions for a moment before we go into another part of the story. And our language conventions for this week is commas and coordinate adjectives. In this lesson, you will learn about the effective use of commas and coordinate adjectives in writing. You coordinate the adjectives that are describing words that equally modify the same noun. For example, Daedalus was a smart, purposeful man. Notice the smart and purposeful appear before the noun man and are separated by a comma. So I'm going to go here. This is a little presentation that I found that you guys can use to understand a little bit more about how to use commas to separate coordinating adjectives. The rule is you must separate coordinating adjectives with a comma. That's the basic rule. What is a coordinating adjective? Don't forget, an adjective is a word that describes a noun. A coordinating adjective are two or more adjectives that separately change a noun. If you can put an and or a but between two adjectives, you probably need a comma between them. Here are some examples. Mr. Buckwalter is a tall, distinguished fellow. Mr. Buckwalter is a tall and distinguished fellow. Mr. Buckwalter is a tall, distinguished fellow. Now, here's another example. Mr. Buckwalter lived in an old, dilapidated house. Mr. Buckwalter lived in an old and dilapidated house. Mr. Buckwalter lived in an old, dilapidated house. Here are even more examples for you. Mr. Buckwalter always helps little old ladies cross the street. Mr. Buckwalter always helps little and old ladies across the street. And Mr. Buckwalter always helps little old ladies cross the street. What are we missing there, you guys? You guessed it, we were missing a comma. Now, here are some practice examples for you guys. The crowd cheered as the rhythmic, pulsating music filled the stadium. Now, let's think about that for a second. And think about what adjectives we're using to describe the noun in the story. Let's focus on the noun first. In this time, the noun is music. So, what kind of music is filling the stadium? You guessed it, rhythmic, pulsating music. So that's where we would add a comma. The second one, the loud, restless crowd anxiously awaited the start of the game. Now, again, we have to identify our noun. In this case, our noun would be, you guessed it, crowd. So, how are we describing the crowd? They're being anxiously and they awaited. So that's where we would add our comma. This cold December wind chills me to the bone. So what is our noun in this sentence? That's right, wind. And how are we describing the wind? Cold December wind. Then our last example, look at that, Mr. Buckwalter is back. Mr. Buckwalter would like a warm, tasty donut this morning. So, what noun are we going to focus on in this sentence? Correct, donut. And how do we describe the donut? By saying it's warm and tasty. So if you guys want a visual of how that would look, this is how it would look. So, I hope you guys that enjoyed that. I hope it explained it a little better of how we're supposed to put commas in. Now, if you take a look in your textbook, you'll notice that we have a notice and note with an annotation model. It says, as you read, note elements of myths that you can identify. You can also mark details that show aspects of the myth's theme. This model shows one reader's notes about the flight of Icarus. So let's take a look at this reader's notes. It says, Daedalus was an ingenious artist and was not discouraged by his failures. Minos may control the land and sea, he said, but he does not control the air. I will try that way. So as you can see, the student decided to use the word ingenious and discourage. Those are definitely adjectives that are describing the noun in this case. Daedalus seems to have important values. Part of the theme or not? You guys would have to decide that. Control the air equals the same of something special or even supernatural in a time before airplanes. So those are specific points to help you guys out with that. So that's basically the language conventions class for today. I hope everyone completed their critical vocabulary. I hope you're interested in playing this game. It's so much fun, you guys. It's an easy way to learn a little bit about themes, common themes that you can learn about in stories. And these are just short passages, so it's even easier for you to identify them. But, you want to go quickly because you don't want something to happen to your players and you don't want anything to happen to your king. You got to protect him from that Cyclops. All right, guys, so that's it for me today. Remember that we're looking for themes. We're looking at myth as our genre. Remember what our essential question is, what helps people rise up to face difficulties, and our story is the flight of Icarus. By the way, your homework assignment is going to be to read the flight of Icarus and make sure that you annotate and answer the questions that are on the side. All right, guys, well, have a great day. I'll see you later. Bye.